Who? What? Where? How? These are all the questions that we have come here to answer about the metaverse. But I guess my favorite one that I've been hearing recently is why? I mean, right? Don't you find it odd that people would ask the question, why do we need the metaverse? So I want to explain to you the perspective of the Siemens Corporation. You may say, why is the CEO of Siemens USA here? Well, let me tell you, I'm speaking on behalf of the 40,000 employees who work all across the United States on behalf of the Siemens Corporation, a company that has been in business this year, celebrating its 175th anniversary. And you only get to do that if you remain relevant. This is a company that has focused on communication and transportation, bringing electricity to societies everywhere, a company that is in the backbone of every economy. And so what we're focused on is actually the industrial metaverse. Siemens, you may find us everywhere you look, and you don't even know it. If you've ridden in a car today, it might have been designed by Siemens software. The software that we use for industrial design is used by 170,000 customers worldwide. That car might have been manufactured in a factory where Siemens controls actually govern the process. 1 in 3 manufacturing machines globally uses Siemens technology. And by the way, if it's an electric vehicle and you've chosen to plug in, what you'll find is Siemens working at the grid edge in order to empower us in the future of electrified transportation. These are all capabilities that we're bringing into the world today. But we like to point out that if the last decade was about the Internet of People, this coming decade is about people inventing the Internet of Things. And hence, the key question, why the metaverse? I loved the conversations earlier today about other people's whys. And you're going to find our why, again, aligning with what you've already seen. What about the customer experience? What about the employee experience? What about the capabilities we have? Imagine bringing people together to create within this virtual space. Now, I hope you'll be a little bit gentle with me because I don't want to trip over some of the language issues that I've been hearing from people who've been inventing this world now for quite some time. But I want to pause and honor this invention that's brought us here and to have us think for a moment about what this means for people. Because really, this technology is only as powerful as the people behind it. And it's so critically important in manufacturing. Have you all been watching the statistics? At any given time, there have been 800,000, 1 million open jobs in the United States in manufacturing. Who will take on this work? Well, what if manufacturing was as fun as playing a video game? What if the key skill that parents need to encourage their children to engage in is video gaming? Because the interfaces to the technology that will work in the manufacturing environment are every bit as intuitive, every bit as virtual and engrossing, every bit as immersive as what they've been experiencing in their bedroom after bedtime. We think that we're entering this era, and we think this is going to bring down the barriers to engagement. We think this is going to open up doors to new careers for young and old. And, it's interesting because what we're working on at Siemens is encapsulating the physics, the science that is behind our real world. And so I'm always encouraging, we need to develop a workforce with the advanced engineers, the advanced scientists who are pushing that edge, but we can encapsulate that knowledge into tools that can allow a high school student to interact in this virtual world and create something very, very real. And it all begins with the concept of the digital twin. We've been talking about this a lot. What is that digital twin? That virtual representation of something that is very, very real. The ability to capture not only the animation, not just what it looks like, but how it behaves. That ability to create objects in virtual space, these are the building blocks. And think about the industrial revolutions we've been through so far. Steam, electricity, computers and the automation that allowed us to interact with manufacturing differently. The digital twin is the next building block that takes us into this next industrial revolution and is every bit as transformative as the revolutions that have come before. At Siemens, we're proud because we have the most comprehensive digital twin available. These building blocks that are coming together actually empower us to create digital threads. So the digital twin of the car that helps us design that new vehicle and bring a product to reality 50% faster can actually also be used to carry through into the production process. A digital twin of the factory line, in fact, can help us understand how things will operate. And then the digital twin of the object in operation can help us understand how to modify and change that product over time. This digital thread is the lifeblood of our future. And it's the key to sustainability as well. With a digital twin, we don't have to bend metal first to see how things will work. We have the ability to try it, experiment, use the forces of nature on it, and then make decisions about what we want to actually build in the real world. This is vitally important to us. What comes next? What if that digital thread could actually come to life with immersive photorealistic rendering? What you see in the graphic before you is a representation of a production line that BMW will need in 2025 as they continue to build out their operations for EVs. On the left, you see a typical rendering that comes from a Siemens plant sim capability. We have customers all over the world who are using this capability to plan out their production lines, actually test out the ergonomics, make decisions about where and how to place things. But you can see it's a little cartoonish. It's amazing what happens now when, on the right-hand side, you use NVIDIA's capabilities for that photorealism. Suddenly now we can walk through the factory as if we're actually there. We have the opportunity now to immerse customers and suppliers into an environment where they can experience what's happening on the shop floor. And think about that, from the shop floor to the top floor, everyone being able to meet and work in this virtual environment. What I'd like to do then in the next couple of minutes is give you a couple of real-life examples where our work in digital twins and this nascent industrial metaverse is making a difference. And I start on Mars. When JPL and NASA needed to build the Mars rover, it was impossible to simulate, to reproduce the atmosphere that's on Mars. In fact, the key bit about getting to Mars is those last 7 minutes of terror. How do you take a spacecraft that's traveling at 13,000 miles per hour, lose complete contact with it as it comes through the Martian atmosphere, slow it to 2 miles per hour for a dainty landing on the surface of the planet? Well, using Siemens software, they were able to simulate that landing with a variety of parameters, thousands of permutations, to select the approach that would be successful, and we all know the end of that story. I really look forward to hearing from Space Force later on today to find out exactly what's on their mind about the future of this technology in their operations. But what about closer to Earth? Did you know that the FDA is currently working with us using these tools in order to speed up the review and the approval of new drugs, new healthcare procedures, new medical devices. So a process that used to rely on the mass transmission of paper back and forth, PDF documents back and forth describing what it is we're building, how we'll build it, having to go on site in order to approve a new production line. Now, in the metaverse, we have the opportunity to do these things side by side. We can work collaboratively to understand what's going to be acceptable. How can we create the answer that's most effective and speed to need the things that we will need in time of crisis? Overall, this is incredibly promising for all of us. It changes everything. So the journey that Siemens has been on since 2007, you may recall a year when a certain someone stood on a stage right here and said, every once in a while a technology comes along that's truly revolutionary and it changes everything. It has, and so will the industrial metaverse. So as I close, what I want us to think about is the potential, the why. What's your why? I think the industrial metaverse may come to pass sooner than many, many of the other instantiations we're talking about. And it is part of the metaverse. I won't claim it to be separate. I won't say that there are multiple. The industrial metaverse gives us the opportunity to bring people into the world of manufacturing in a way that they can experience things early. They can train without fear of injury in an actual production environment. They can work with their customers without needing to bring expensive and rare materials together. They can plan their production lines. They can monitor their production lines. They can anticipate what's going to happen in real operation. They can learn from that and feed that back into their future plans. All of that will be made possible by the tools that you all have created today. But the one thing I want to leave you with is that this is the time to dream. And I'm convinced that no matter how big we dream, it's not nearly enough. Thank you.